Okay, I got some questions here from people that I'm going to go ahead and answer for you. I'm not going to keep it too long. I'll make it as brief as I can and to the point, so hopefully it helps, because there are too many variables in all these questions because you've got to consider age, you've got to consider gender, you know, how many times a week you're training, how long for, how many reps and sets. You've got to look at your work, you've got to look at your sleep, your nutrition. So it's kind of endless. So a friend was asking how to build muscle. So this could go on forever. There's so much research out there. How to build muscle and do it well, basically. Make sure you go through a full range of emotion. So making sure that there's no swinging involved, that you're locked in place, you're in neutral spine. The body's always meant to be in neutral spine when doing any type of movement. To do that efficiently, say if it's a squat, for example, with the bar on top of you, it gets quite technical. So you have to look into that a bit. So if you want to do really well in a certain muscle group, or every muscle group, which I believe you should use a lot less weight and actually get your form right and feel yourself squeezing through the motion first, and learn strength curves where you're weakest at, which are usually down the extremities and up at the top of the range, and then the middle where you're strongest. And then knowing as well, you'll know how well you put on muscle. That's to do with the length and the thickness of muscle fibers themselves, and how much mitochondria and nuclei are within that as well, but you don't want to go into that. So some people will build muscle quite well, some people won't. And it could take you 6 months to get really good results, or it could take you 3. It all depends. It depends on so many variables. So just make sure that every time you do a workout, that you're not swinging, you're not jerking, you're not trying to force a movement, you're actually working that muscle group in itself. That's so important. So many people I see training, they're just worried about lifting heavy, when I get them to train, I get them to lift half the weight, if not even less, change their form so much that they just feel an absolute burn and feel it in that area much better. It depends all on your goals, and that's the thing. You got to find your goals and find out what you want to do and what you want to achieve and what you want to be successful at, and just know how to do that well and efficient. Next one is how to lose weight: ketosis, vegan, paleo diet. Okay, so they've all got their place. Vegan and paleo diet, yeah, they're good. But full-on vegan, not a healthy person. Not enough protein in there, not enough fat. Even for paleo, I would still put more fats and more protein in. I mean, people underestimate how important that is. I mean, that should be your first and foremost of like every starting meal should be protein and fats, followed by veggies and salad. So many metabolic processes and brain functions, building muscle, giving you energy, the list goes on. So, and ketosis diet, so you got to be careful with them, really careful. So they're based on, they say, this could go on forever. So I'll say, okay, say it's a guy that wants to build muscle and lose body fat at the same time. Yes, you can do it, but you have to have always every sort of 3-4 hours, and this depends on your metabolism, how fast it is, of course. You'll know how quickly you burn through stuff. You can lose body fat and build muscle. For my body type, I can do it. I found a way to do it for me. I don't grow muscle massively well, but I can do it and lose body fat at the same time. It's not healthy for the body. It is good to always mix things up to shock the body. Anything can become stagnant and stale within the body, even when you do something that's really beneficial for it. The body gets used to it. So even though it's an energy system that is working 24/7 to absorb things and flush it out, that's all it does, and it's just function. It becomes used to anything. So when you think about that, when you've put something in, maybe you've had a big meal at night, and you've woke up the next day and you're buzzing with energy. You've stimulated your thyroid, your metabolism. So overnight, you've increased that. You get probably, hopefully, a good night's sleep. Everything's energized. When you wake up, you're full of bounce. Some people, yes, some people not. That can depend on many other things. But with ketosis, you've got to be careful, only because it creates a lot of acid within the body. Acid is linked to acidity within the body, so you can actually burn through a lot of vitamins, minerals, and protein, fat within the body, which is not good. So you're essentially breaking down the body as well, and breaking down body fat, and then the liver's got to then process it and utilizes it as energy for you. So it's a big complex thing. You can cause more stress out of it. Your adrenal glands and cortisol can be really under stress and strain, because your adrenal glands, thyroid and pancreas actually crosstalk to one another. So if you think about your pancreas for basically coming out with insulin for energy, you've got your adrenal glands for, insulin for breaking down, taking the glucose up for energy, thyroid, for metabolism, adrenal glands for energy systems to sort of run it all, or run the whole body in general. So it's a big strain, and look, this is the thing, not all body types are designed to be on these type of diets. This could go on forever again. You'll know your body type once you know how well it puts on muscle and how efficiently it loses body fat. Like some people have said, I did this and I lost a little bit and I didn't feel as full in the body. Like some bodybuilders I train, they go, well, why have when my arms were this big, they're now this big, just in 1 week. And because they were holding so much inflammation, so much fluid, so much fat in the wrong areas, the body was just inflamed, the cells. So basically, once they take out all the acidity stuff and start putting in more natural, their body just changes and feels better. Okay, so I'm going to keep going on, so I'll leave it at that. But if you ever have any questions, just send them to me and I'll do more videos. All right, hormones. Okay, so if you type in list of human hormones in Google, it'll give you the Wikipedia thing to that. And you can have a good look through there and click on each one. And if you really want to understand what they do, do that. I mean, they're produced within all your organs, basically. So if your organs are under stress or not working as efficiently, your hormones are going to be out of whack. So you will need to go and see an endocrinologist to make sure that they're in, or go to your doctors and see what they can do as well. Because it's so important, because that in itself can be detrimental to anything you do. Sleep, mood, absorbing minerals, having energy, focus, stamina, endurance, just drive for life, mental capacity, the list goes on. So, and with women, it's pretty full on. So, they can have, this is a controversy thing too, is that women can have lower dopamine, serotonin, different brain chemistry things that are going on in the head. Everyone's different there. And this all depends a great deal on how focused you are in life. If you're extremely focused and just driven, your body is going to find a way to adapt and put itself in sync if you're so down the line and just, so it's extremely important. But you need to identify everything that's going on within your body to make sure it is functioning optimally. If something's out, you're only as strong as your weakest link. It's that simple. And you need to identify it before it takes over you, and you keep pushing yourself, and that hormone is then nearly depleted, and then, because once something's out, more things in the body have to come in and help compensate to make it work, and then it's more strain on them again. So the list goes on there, so that's pretty big. Okay, best way to cut out sugar and carbs. Okay, well, sugar and carbs are really important, but there is a time and a place. They're a non-essential nutrient, meaning that you only really need them depending on, look, if you've got a lot of muscle mass and you're trying to build, you do need them, but it's listening to your body. If you don't feel like you need carbs or you need sugars, don't have it. Wait till the next meal. There's nothing wrong with that. You just got to go by feel. It doesn't mean you have in one big meal a big thing of rice or a lot of fruit. Just have one banana, see how you feel. Give it, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, and you're probably going to feel fine. Now, fruits are usually going to go through you quicker. They're considered to only regenerate energy within the liver, whereas carbohydrates, so your starches, so like your rice and your sweet potatoes, things like that, breads, well, yes and no, but they're mainly glucose, so they're going to be a slow releasing. So they're going to give you more of a longer muscle endurance or strength. And that all depends, I find, greatly on different body types. The amount of people I've worked with and experimented with not everyone's the same. So that's a big discussion in itself and can go on for quite a long time. I mean, I can use rice and fruits and function just as well in the gym and train just as hard. What works better for me? I don't really know. I tend to always will use fruits over carbs only because there is a lot more beneficial nutrients in them. I mean, if you start using a lot of chickpeas, lentils, all those grains that you can use and mix it with rice, a lot of that stuff has lectin, the protein, and you can be quite allergic to that. So you need to get tested for that as well. And staying off I'm going to add this into which needs to be done. Staying off dairy, gluten, and wheat is a must. I mean, you got to ask yourself, why do you need it? It's that simple. I mean, is there a need for it? Why do I? It's just funded by the government out there to give you false. It's just fake. It's all fake. You don't need it. The amount of people I get off dairy, get off wheat and gluten, within a week they feel so much better. They deflame so much, de-stress so much. Their body's just falling back into sync. Within months, their whole body's just realigning. You can switch on like 71 or more bad genes with dairy, gluten and wheat, but if you're having all of them, you're going to switch on hundreds of bad genes. But people that don't have that switch on only good genes. So it just means the body's then going to be able to re-synthesize and re-stabilize itself in many shapes and forms. So that's huge. I mean, you can get yourself, if you get yourself pH strips, so that was the other thing I wanted to talk about. So with acidity comes alkalinity. So you need to alkaline your body. But if you are trying to, this could go, I'm going to keep going. If you are trying to lose body fat and you're doing a ketosis diet type thing, but you get too much acid, so you could actually have burps or you could feel your guts quite empty all the time. So that actually creates a lot of acid from your kidneys to your gut, which is not good. You get a byproduct of acid anyway when it breaks down food. Your body's always got acid going on in some shape or form within the body. But if you just start using like alkalining salts, which you can get, which your magnesium, potassium, sodium, bicarbonate and all that, too much of that can raise levels within the kidneys and really damage them. So not good, because the kidneys is the last line of defense that helps to process and flush everything out your urine and all that stuff. So you have to be very careful with alkalining salts, maybe once every couple of days, something like that. Best way to alkaline is cut out anything that is processed, anything that's acidic. No dairy, gluten, wheat, even if it's organic, nothing like that. A lot of veggies will help to alkaline your body. Things like lemon, all your garlic and ginger, your herbs, things like that will really help too. Acidic body cells are just, your energy for your ATP will actually decrease. So energy cells will decrease. Mitochondrial cells will decrease, not be as efficient to fight off bugs, viruses, cancer, list goes on. So cut it all out. It's just basic, it's simple. I mean, anything that is man-made and it's not natural switches on bad genes. Anything that is good switches them all off, switches on the good genes. So that's sort of simple. Okay, brain chemistry affected the body. How does that work? Okay, so another subject can go on for hours, if not days. Definitely days. Basically, within the brain, you've got a presynaptic neuron and a postsynaptic neuron, and they fire electrical impulse along the chemical ion channel through here. So you've got all your neurotransmitters at the pre and all your receptor sites to connect the messages from there to here at your post. But sometimes that ion channel can actually be destroyed, maybe broken a bit or a bit depleted or not quite firing as well due to whatever, whether it's literally stress, not enough sleep, not enough protein to help regenerate, and not enough fats to help it lubricate and fire and things like that. We're all born in a certain way, different things, so even nootropics themselves will help to connect that go a lot better. But you've got to realise that if you aren't putting in enough fat and meats, you're just not gonna, and you're expecting to lean out and you're expecting to build muscle or have muscle, it's just not going to work. You're going to feel more fatigued than anything, because the first